and thank you for listening to WRYAT, New Orleans' 5th-ranked public radio station. As always, we're broadcasting live from a prefabricated Home Depot shed located off of South Carrollton by the Popeyes.
All right, welcome back, listeners. This is Sinclair, a.k.a. Gopher the Toker. You're listening to WRYAT. I'm really excited about our next segment, one I like to call Charlie Guesses Flags. All right. Joining us in the studio today, we have a young man from WRYAT University named Charlie, who will be guessing flags based off my description. Welcome to the studio, Charlie. How are you doing today?
Hey, Toker, man, I'm doing good. How are you feeling?
Man, I'm doing swell. So how did you come about this skill, man?
3rd grade, I was diagnosed with severe ADHD, given a plethora of Ritalin. Wouldn't pay attention to the multiplication tables that was supposed to be taught to me. Instead, I needed stimulation. I would take the children's encyclopedia from under my desk and just look at all the different colors and shapes and different flags of the world. Because when you're high on Ritalin in the 3rd grade, you definitely need all those colors and shapes.
Oh, man, right on. I appreciate that intense background story, man. Thorough, man. So tell you what, man, I'm going to give you $50 for every flag you guess correctly. Is that cool, man?
That is totally cool, too.
All right, so let's jump right into Charlie Guesses Flags. All right, I'm going to start off with a warm-up one here. Pretty easy one. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, so rectangle, yeah. 3 horizontal stripes. Top stripe slightly bigger than the bottom 2 stripes. Top stripe is yellow. Middle stripe is blue. Bottom stripe is... Get out of here. You didn't even let me finish, dude. $50. Why, man? Oh, that is... What? How? Oh, my God. That is so tight, man. Oh, what? All right.
Wait, is that $50 or is that a warm-up?
No, man, that's $50, man.
Oh,
you won that. That's yours, man. That's the first flag. I said it was a warm-up because I thought it'd be just an easy one.
Oh, cool. Cool, man. I'll take that. All right. 50 cash.
Moving on to the second flag here. Would you like to give a shout out to anyone?
Grandma.
All right. Second flag here. Rectangle, yeah? 2 stripes. Top stripe red, bottom stripe white. But in the red stripe, up to the top left corner, there's a crescent moon, and just to the right of that, 5 stars.
Let's see. That's going to be Singapore.
What? That's correct, bro. That is so cool. I don't know what you can really do with this in the long run, but this is awesome.
Yeah, I just know you can't chew gum in Singapore at all.
All right, I'm really gonna crank up the heat here for the last one. Are you ready?
You got it, man.
All right, for the last flag and $150, we got 6 stripes. Black stripe, yellow stripe, red stripe. Black stripe, yellow stripe, red stripe from top to bottom. And in the center, there's a white circle with a chicken in it.
Uganda.
That's correct. Oh, my God. This is the coolest talent I've ever had in our studio. Well, here's $150 well earned, Charlie. What are you going to do with that money?
I'm going to give this to the state of Mississippi. Mississippi needs a new flag. I figure they could use this for their design firm. Yeah, really fucking glad they got rid of that racist emblem. But you know what? On the change. And I might buy a cheeseburger.
Okay. Right on, man. Right on. Well, it looks like you're going to have to learn some new flags, it sounds like.
I hope so.
Well, thanks for joining us today, man. Really appreciate your time. All right, well, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. This is Gopher the Toker on WRYAT.
What up, juggalos and juggalettes? Whoop, whoop! It's your fanboy, DJ Two Scoops, and I'm coming at you from the Dark Carnival in my heart. Physically, I'm coming to you from a lowrider on St. Claude. Now, during these uncertain times, I want all my juggalos and juggalettes, whoop whoop, to know that we here at Juggalo's Ice Cream Shop and Faygo Floats Do You for 2 Scoops have your best interests at heart. We are here to serve you ice cream and sweet treats inspired by all of our favorite band, the Insane Clown Posse! We got you, fam. You've been locked down and you need to get your cream on. So strap on your mask and come out. If you don't have a mask, just double layer your Juggalo face paint, because we got them fresh out of quarantine flavors for your face. We got some Hocus Pocus cookies and cream. You can get that in a waffle cone, a double doozy, or even a cup shaped like an evil circus tent. That don't do it for your brain. We also got 3 rings of Shangri-La Napolitan, which is a combo of Valhalla Vanilla, Dark Carnival Dark Chocolate, and Squirrel Blood Strawberry. Limited supplies while quantities last. How about a milkshake made out of possum nipple punch? And don't forget our signature Faygo Fade, where I've spray painted a tank of nitrous to look like a Faygo bottle. And for $45, I'll let you suck on the end of that bottle and you can get Faygo Faded. So come on down and holla at your boy DJ 2 Scoops at Juggalo's Ice Cream Shop and Faygo Floats. Do you for 2 scoops. Whoop, whoop. As always, you can find me on a lowrider on St. Claude. Whoop.
New Orleans, one of the richest cities in the history of the world, strictly culinary terms, of course. Over 300 years of food culture, and I've been here for just over a month. Who am I, you ask? I'm Jeffrey Reynolds, food critic and historian. But my colleagues call me Jazz Reynolds, food critic and historian. So come with me, and I'll show you some of the best kept secrets on where to eat and dine in the Big Easy. Soon you'll learn that every grain of rice in your bowl of jumbo has a story to tell. So again, I'm Jazz Reynolds. Welcome to Distaste of New Orleans. Good morning, ravenous listeners. I don't know about you all out there, but today I woke up with a hankering for authentic New Orleans cheeseburger. Therefore, I will be quenching my appetite at none other than Protocol New Orleans, famous for their burgers and a film of the same name, starring Hollywood's very own Nicolas Cage. I received a handy flyer here at the hotel I've been staying at for the past month, and after doing some research on Yelp, a highly resourceful and little-known app when it comes to food, I found that it has received a whopping 4 out of 5 stars and an 89 health rating. I like those odds. Yelp has also indicated to me, and this is important, that Protocol New Orleans does not take reservations, which is good because I have none about eating there today. I'm Jazz Reynolds. I've lived in New Orleans for a month, and it's 9 in the morning, and my Uber driver is arriving, so I'm going to get a cheeseburger at Protocol. Join me, won't you? Hello, hungry listeners. You still listening? Coming to you from Esplanade Avenue in my Uber, where we are currently stuck in traffic on a 1-lane street behind a horse and buggy. Apparently, this ancient Fred Flintstone-esque method of transportation is perfectly fine and legal in New Orleans. I'm here with my driver, Phil, and I'm going to ask him a very important question. What in the actual Phil? Can you just drive around them? Like in the grassy middle there?
Oh, you mean the neutral ground? Nah, I can't do that. Sorry, man. It's illegal.
Ah, so there's one thing that's illegal in this city. Gotcha. Good to know, Phil. 5 stars for you, Phil.
If it's okay with you, sir, I'm going to turn B97 back up until we get there.
It's your car. I don't see why it's even necessary to ask. Bring on the tunes. While we wait for authentic New Orleans food, we can listen to authentic New Orleans music on a local radio station and soak in more New Orleans wonderful culture while we're stuck in traffic caused by none other than New Orleans wonderful culture. Wow, Phil, you think this New Orleans track was recorded at the famous House of Blues or somewhere similar?
What?
Was this song recorded in the New Orleans House of Blues?
I don't know. Oh, shit.
What is it, Phil? Speak to the listeners.
I just missed my turn. We're going to have to turn around.
Listeners, if you're still with us, After waiting in the Uber for much longer than anticipated, the Uber driver, Phil, has missed a crucial turn to get me and us to port a call for a cheeseburger. We're now making a U-turn on the other side of Esplanade Avenue, and would you look at that? The horse and buggy appear as if they've missed their turn as well. And now we're stuck behind them making a U-turn. What a joyous turn of events this has turned out to be. I'm very hungry, I'm very angry, and my mind is unable to form a portmanteau of those two words because I'm so hungry and so angry. But on the plus side, I don't see how things could get any worse. Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding, after living in New Orleans for a month, that Mardi Gras was at least 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was, but this isn't Mardi Gras. This is a second line. Those are year-round.
Second line? Does that mean there's a first line? How many lines are there? How deep does this thing go? Are we in the Matrix here? Are we just jerking each other off?
What? A second line is just like a parade that you can put on yourself with your family and friends for like $300.
Well, that's good, because I'm going to put on the biggest second line the whole city has ever seen when I finally eat some goddamn food. How do you like that, Phil? You like it at all?
Hey, man, if you want, it's not like Protocol is far from here. I can just drop you off and, you can just walk from here.
Oh, you make it sound so easy, Phil. But you've conveniently left out the fact that I'm too hungry to walk. I spent $7 on this Uber and I intend to get my money's worth.
I'm sure the parade will be over soon, man.
Shut up, Phil. Good afternoon, listeners. You're still here with me and Phil in Phil's 2013 Hyundai Elantra. And we're stuck in line. Not a second line, though. Now we're stuck in the moderately long drive-thru for New Orleans' own Burger King. Actually, New Orleans has several Burger Kings, and so does New Zealand. And they're not difficult to access. Perhaps if Protocol wanted to take a page from the King of Burgers book, it would consider opening more than, one location on one street that's one lane. That's just my opinion, though. The opinion of someone who's very hungry, and the someone who is about to order not just a cheeseburger, but a double cheeseburger. Because that's how hungry I am. That's how hungry I am, Phil.
I know. You've mentioned it several times.
And this meal even comes with fries. No extra charge.
It's definitely an extra charge for fries.
Not if you get one of the numbered meal plans. Listeners, while we're sitting here behind another car, not a horse and buggy, a car, and a Honda Civic car at that, I'm able to view all of Burger King's menu offerings on this handy outdoor signage, and I can make a decision by the time we arrive at the restaurant's outdoor intercom system. This intercom system is designed specifically to take your food order so you don't have to set foot outside of your car or inside the Burger King itself. How do you like that? Not even Chili's had an intercom.
Yeah, that's literally how drive-thrus work.
Well, hungry and angry listeners, there's no need to be hungry or angry any longer. Phil and I are sitting here in his car at the Burger King parking lot, sipping on root beers and eating burgers together. The food is extremely affordable, so much that I even decided to get Phil here his own Whopper meal plan, as I stuck with the trusty double cheeseburger. Truthfully, it all tastes pretty bad, but at least we're able to get it and eat it pretty easily. I want to thank Yelp for nothing and offer a suggestion to its developers to start providing the surrounding traffic information to their restaurants that are listed on their websites, especially if they intend for Yelp to become a successful app. And I want to thank Phil for sticking with me through it all, especially during my hungry, angry phase, and for actually getting us to a New Orleans restaurant unburdened by New Orleans culture.
Speaking of which, I'm going to need to get out. I got another ride. I got to get going.
All right then, fair enough. Now that I am no longer hungry and angry, it looks like I'll be able to walk home safely. So today, we've made new friends, enjoyed new foods. Tomorrow, we'll search for more of both. Thank you for tuning in to Distaste of New Orleans. I'm Jazz Reynolds.
Get out of my car!
We now pause this programming for station identification and remind you that you are tuned in to WRYAT New Orleans Guerrilla Radio. Learn more about our programming online at WRYATradio.com and follow us on Instagram at WRYAT Radio. As always, you can listen to this and previous radio broadcasts on Spotify or anywhere else you download or stream podcasts. Thank you for tuning in to WRYAT New Orleans Guerrilla Radio.
Hello. We here at WRYAT are looking for our beloved DJ Luke Guru. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please call 504-233-9337. That's 504-233-9337. Thank you, and come home soon, Luke.
Good evening, and welcome to, that doesn't sound right. I'm your host, Josh Watts. The year is 1930. In a little Texas town few have ever heard of, called Houston, pronounced Houston, where a God-fearing young man named Dan Man was quietly minding his own business when he noticed that his neighbor, a young industrialist named Howard Dante, was defecating in his front yard. In 1930 Texas, they believed strongly that underground pipes were the work of the devil, so most Texans would just relieve themselves in their front yard or the green spaces outside of government buildings. But on this fateful morning in March, Howard Dante had made the grave error of defecating on the wrong side of the fence. Ironic, considering the Texas state motto at the time was, "Don't mess on my side of the fence," which would eventually be slightly altered to the popular state motto we know today, "Don't shit in Texas." Dan Man grew up in a working-class neighborhood in a small town called Mandan, North Dakota. North Dakota in the 1930s was a wild frontier that was most famously known as the place Helen Keller had never been. If she had ever been to North Dakota, especially Mandan, she would have been appalled at the things her eyes couldn't see. In the early part of the century, when you became angry or felt offended by something someone said or did, you could not go onto social media and ruin their life. You had to do it the old-fashioned way, the American way, right to their dumb face. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where Dan Man really began to shine. For Dan created the snow burn as a way of letting his neighbors and townfolk know that he'd had enough of their goddamn shenanigans. Dan would drink copious amounts of moonshine in the hours leading up to the snow burn. Then, just as the sun began to set behind the mountains, he would write a message of judgment and contempt with urine in the snow in front of the target's home. Dan was famous for his brevity, with messages such as "Eat excrement" or "Dan Man rules all of Mandan." Then, in early 1929, Dan Man's snow burns began to bring consequences and ill will from his neighbors. After a famous snow burn left 3 small children without a mother, she was hit by a car while trying to urinate to erase the snow burn so the children could not read "Suck it, Dort" on their front lawn. Dan Man knew he had to flee Mandan, and he headed straight for Houston, Texas, where he would find work as a pigeon agitator for several months. This leads us back to that March morning in 1930. Dan was absolutely enraged that Howard Dante had not lived by the Texas motto and kept his mess on his side of the fence. Dan searched deep in his heart and soul and knew there was only one thing to do. He was going to have to write a really snarky message in urine in a pile of snow on this Howard dickhead's front yard. But Texas, while famous for many things, like their kangaroo packs and wild giant trucks, they are not famous for their snowfall, and with good reason. But Dan refused to be deterred, and Dan dared to defy God above by making his own snowfall. Dan brought the biggest block of ice he could find and then had it delivered on the line between his property and that of his neighbor and now sworn enemy, Howard Dante. For hours on end, Dan stood outside, shaving ice off of the block with an unnecessarily large machete. Then, at just about dusk, the pile was big enough. Dan dropped his trousers and began to write out his exact feelings in a urine diatribe when he heard a rustling coming from behind him. "Can I help you, sir?" came a disembodied voice from around the corner. When Dan spun around, he saw it was a house-stone police officer. Dan knew, like every cop ever, this idiot couldn't read, but he was still concerned that this pig might become suspicious that he was urinating on a pile of ice in his neighbor's yard. So without giving it a second of thought, Dan Man grabbed a handful of the yellowed snow and stuck it right in the police officer's hat, which at the time in 1930, police officers wore dunce caps. So when flipped upside down, it made a perfect cone to hold this ball of snow. "It's a new dessert I'm working on for the World's Fair," Dan cleverly lied. Now the cop took a big bite of this snowball, and since police officers are born without taste buds or empathy, the cop thanked Dan for his yum-yum and went about his way. Crisis averted. Dan would have no way of knowing the real crisis was that his neighbor, who he had intended the snow burn for, had heard everything, for he had been watching Dan for hours. The young industrialist knew a good idea when he saw one being pissed out in his front yard. Howard Dante, that afternoon, filed a patent for a shaved ice treat he called snowballs. After the balls he felt it took to pee out an angry message at your neighbor, and after replacing the urine with sugared syrups, Howard was on his way. He began gaining notoriety in his local area for his delicious snowballs. Howard Dante would present this new treat at the 1934 World's Fair, and the rest is history, and the snowball became a part of the American lexicon. Howard Dante would live out the rest of his life as a snowball and cocaine drug lord, dying in 1985 in the New Orleans mansion of his best friend and life coach, Richard Simmons. Dan Man would go on to die in the Battle of the Alamo in 1982, which is how his family refers to the incident in which Dan was run over on vacation in the parking lot of the Alamo over a dispute for a parking space. So remember, the next time you're enjoying a delicious snowball, take a moment and think of Dan Man and how they used to be made of pee. For, that doesn't sound right. I'm Josh Watts. Good night.
New Orleans Eats is brought to you today by Krispy Fried Chicken. Krispy Fried Chicken. So greasy you'll lose your grip. On flavor, from our studios in the pre-fabricated Home Depot shed at WRYAT, this is New Orleans Eats, and I'm your host, Penny Tucker. Today we're going to have a special guest meeting us any minute now. You see, dear listeners, it's not an easy time to be a food critic in this city. So many places are closed. So tonight, we've ordered online directly from our sponsor, Krispy Fried Chicken, to see what all the fuss is about. While we wait, here's a fun little recipe that I like to put together to stretch that grocery bill. Heat up that leftover rice in the fridge that you've never did make rice pudding out of. Add in the nachos that you brought home from lunch. And then grab a couple of packs of these single-use condiments. Let's see, we've got some soy sauce, Arby's horsey sauce, ketchup of course, and mayonnaise. Ugh, how do these things never go bad? Squirt them in all there and then mix it up nice. Now sprinkle the rest of that shredded cheddar cheese you've got and top it off with whatever's crunchy salad toppings you have. Now croutons work great, but if you have Bacos or those tortilla strips, they'll work in a pinch too. And voila, casserole for one. Ugh. Turns out we've made the rare and not at all delicious fear casserole.
Oh, that was fast.
Hello, I'm Chuck from Krispy Fried Chicken. I'm delivering your order for the chicken sandwich with extra slippery sauce.
Well, hey there, Chuck. Hi. Why don't you come in for a second? Don't mind Scraps. He's all bark and no bite.
I don't know. The car's running and...
Don't be silly. Take a second. Come in. Let's talk about this crispy fried chicken sandwich.
Okay, I guess.
Sit. Okay, tell me, Chuck, what's the secret in the extra slippery sauce?
Tallow, I think. Look, can you just sign this? I'll be out of your hair.
Sure, but Chuck, how about you? I mean, do you do this full time or is this like a side hustle for you?
No.
Oh, Chuck, that's a good one. Hey, do you know why I named him Scraps? Because he always gets the last bite of everything I eat. Look at that little guy beg.
Look, lady, I gotta go. I get paid by the delivery. Jesus.
Don't leave. You're the first human being I've seen in weeks.
Well, that'll do it this week for New Orleans Eats. Delicious sounds for New Orleans foodies. And next time when I crack open some Katrina MREs. Bon appetit! Ugh, it's so greasy.
Welcome, listeners. You're now tuned into the Orleans Food and Follow-Up Show, live from the WRYAT studio bathroom, where we'll be preparing a savory meal from around the parish while we also provide a follow-up review of supper from our previous episode. I'm your host and professional chef, Weston Hillson, and joining me, as always, is my good friend and top food critic, Chef Gumbo. How are you doing today, Chuck? Ready to build us another log cabin of analyzation?
Can't lie, Weston. I'm feeling a bit bloated at the moment. But I have really been holding it for the show these past few hours, so that makes sense.
Well, I hope you're ready to pinch the loaf we're baking today, Chuck, because we'll be preparing a New Orleans classic, red beans and rice.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of room here shortly, Weston. And good thing, too, because that sounds delicious.
So after I show you all how to make today's meal, Chuck here will give us a review of our dinner from the other day. Coca-Cola brine fried chicken with garlic mashed potatoes and hush puppies. Now, Chuck, if I recall, you thoroughly enjoyed yesterday's fried chicken, correct?
I gotta tell you, Weston, I normally don't enjoy a lot of fried food. It really messes up my stomach. But that was some of the tastiest chicken I've ever had. The mashed potatoes were very garlicky, which I like. And the hush puppies were the perfect side. Definitely a 10 out of 10 from me on the initial intake. But we'll see how the follow-up goes. Oh.
That's very kind of you. Thank you for the compliments. I can only hope these red beans live up to those hefty expectations. Well, we have all our ingredients laid out here, so if you'd like to go ahead and take your seat on the toilet of review, I think I'm ready to get to cooking if you're ready to cut some rope.
Absolutely. Oh, excuse me.
Sounds like somebody's ready for the follow-up. Anyway, today's dish of classic New Orleans red beans and rice will be using 1 pound of Camellia brand red kidney beans, which I have soaked overnight, 2 cups of medium grain rice, 1 sweet onion, 3 cloves of minced garlic, 2 cups of diced celery, vegetable oil, Cajun spice mixes, and of course, 1.5 pounds of locally made andouille sausage. Well, it seems like old Chuck, or more specifically his stomach, has a comment. How do you feel about today's ingredients compared to yesterday's?
Well, I can definitely tell already that today's ingredients seem way softer than yesterday's. The potatoes, hush puppies, and the fry batter were all very heavy. But hopefully the greasy oil of your fried chicken will help make passing things through easier.
Well, that's good to hear. And just reminded me of something. I almost forgot the most important ingredient for any red beans dish, a copious amount of Louisiana hot sauce.
Damn it.
Now, the first thing we're going to do is get the rice cooking. If you don't know how to do that, tough shit. No pun intended.
Yeah, good one. Uncooked rice is not a fun follow-up.
Next, we're going to get ourselves a Dutch oven, add the oil, and get the sausage going until it's a nice light brown.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Weston, smelling that sausage has got me wanting to review this dish already.
It does smell good, doesn't it? It shouldn't be too much longer before it's ready. But are you going to have room for it?
I think so, Weston. Yep, and I'm also ready to do my follow-up review of that fried chicken as soon as you're done.
Perfect. Now we're going to add in the chopped onion, minced garlic, diced celery, and Cajun spices. Once that's cooked for a minute, we're now ready to throw in our red beans. Then we're going to give it a stir and mash up some of those beans and with everything else.
I have a feeling the follow-up review for these red beans is going to be similar to the tasting, at least in regards to the consistency anyway.
Good one, Chuck. Yeah, I'd imagine this will be a bit easier on the old food processor than the fried chicken we had the other day. Well, all we have to do now is plate it up with some rice, garnish, and of course, that hot sauce. Voila! Classic New Orleans red beans and rice.
I can't wait to try that.
Hold your horses there. Now that I've done my part, it's your turn. So go ahead and make room for them red beans and give the listeners your follow-up review of yesterday's fried chicken and mashed potatoes.
I thought you'd never ask. Okay, so as predicted, the frying grease really helped everything pass quite smoothly despite the rough texture of the fried battered skin. They really complement each other very well. Nice work there, Weston.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I can really feel the spice, and it's been pretty consistent so far. Not overly hot spice, but more flavorful, so you can get an idea of the quality of the ingredients. Okay, yeah, a very dense, earthy aroma. Boy, the potatoes are really shining here.
Oh, Lord, I can tell.
Oh, man. I knew going back for seconds would be problematic, but I stand by that. It is well worth the extra effort. All right. Another 10 out of 10 on the follow-up of your fried chicken with garlic mashed potatoes, hush puppies. There, Weston. Great work.
Oh, God. Much appreciated, Chuck. I'll let Mama Hillson know her recipe still holds up. And thank you, Chuck, for another crowning food follow-up review. Join us in 3 to 4 days when old Chuck here will be following up on today's red beans and rice, while I rustle us up another local favorite, fudge brownies. I'm Weston Hillson, and this has been New Orleans' #1 radio show about going #2. See you next time on the Orleans Food and Follow-Up Show here on WRYAT.
This is WRYAT New Orleans Guerrilla Radio. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.